Hey guys, it's Amanda Lemon and I am back with another top 10 video. Haven't done one of these in a while and I'm really excited about this one because this year marks Tomb Raider's 20th year anniversary. 20 years of Lara Croft, 20 years of my life that has been spent obsessed with the series, obsessed with the game, and obsessed with the character. So I wanted to share with you guys my top 10 Tomb Raider games. Number 10, Tomb Raider, The Last Revelation, 1999. A lot of you might be saying it should be another Tomb Raider game, which I'm pretty sure is a consensus all around. But you know what? But this is just me and my personal opinion and my list. The beginning was super promising. You start as a younger Lara Croft, and she's with her mentor, Werner von Croy, and he is basically racing her to this artifact. And it's a pretty fun, interesting, different side of Lara because we've never seen her as a child before. And it was kind of the beginning of how she came to be a Tomb Raider and all this stuff. She was grown up and they were going against this artifact. I did not like it. The puzzles were hard, as any Tomb Raider game is, but even though it was more of a true tomb raiding game, she was in the tombs, but it just felt repetitive and it just wasn't a game that I played a lot of. Number 9, 2000's Tomb Raider Chronicles. Lara Croft is presumed dead after the events of Tomb Raider Revelation, and basically a bunch of her colleagues come and meet at Croft Manor and reminisce about her history, and through the game you are playing as her in different periods of her life. You got to play as her when she was younger, you got to play as her in her little Matrix getup, and my least favorite part of that was the level where you are 16-year-old Lara Croft. There's like these demon babies and weird spirits. It really pissed me off, that whole entire game. Number 8. Tomb Raider, The Angel of Darkness, 2003. It was the first game that was released from the Tomb Raider franchise on the PlayStation 2. It looked amazing in the trailers. She ended up having survived the accident with Von Croy. She has this whole different era to her. She's like wearing black eyeliner, she's wearing black. It was gonna have a storyline more than 2, 3, and 4 did, so I was looking forward to it a lot. And the world hated that game. I didn't think it was that bad. I enjoyed Angel of Darkness. Angel of Darkness, the controls were the most horrific thing I think I've ever played in my life. It was so difficult to do the simplest tasks. You would jump off shit to your death constantly. But that story was such an amazing story to me, and that is why it's number 8, because I could not wait to see what was happening next. It was the first time she kind of had a love interest. It's the first time you could play as a different character. Angel of Darkness was also one of the first games where you could kind of pick which next dialogue you wanted to do. It was a murder mystery, there was the monstrum running around Paris. It had just a different vibe than any other Tomb Raider game that we'd ever seen by that point. It's too bad that that game ended up that way, but it's still not last on my list. Number 7, Tomb Raider Anniversary, 2007. Tomb Raider Anniversary is a complete reboot of the first game. It was a remastered version with great graphics, and it was using the same engine as Tomb Raider Legend, which I haven't got to yet. And having not played it for such a long time at that point, I could not wait to get my hands on this experience again. It was just everything a true Tomb Raider fan would be excited for. It looked great, it played great, it was a lot of fun, nostalgia everywhere. And after I played that game, I spent about 30 minutes on the internet looking up examples of the original game to the remaster and would show them together and how similar they were. And that is what fans love. That is a service to all Tomb Raider fans, and I thought they did an amazing job. Number 6, Tomb Raider 3, 1998. 1998, I was 8 years old, waking up Christmas morning, hoping that the one thing that I had on my Christmas list would actually be down there, and it was. It was Tomb Raider 3. I played all day for the rest of Christmas. It had a different engine than 1 and 2 did, so the graphics were better, the world was more immersive. You would play the first couple levels, and then you would have the choice as to where you wanted to go next in the world. You got to have your pick at where you wanted to go. You got to do so much cool stuff, like swimming in the South Pacific felt so realistic. You got stuck at Area 51. You had to deal with crazy cannibals. It was just an amazing game. Let me tell you, Stella's Tomb Raider walkthroughs is what got me through my youth. I would never have beat any of these games. Number 5, Tomb Raider Underworld, 2008. Underworld is an extension after Tomb Raider Legend, where Laura's mom basically is missing and we're still trying to figure out where she went. The first level, you are in the ocean and you get to just dive down and experience like this beautiful world. The gameplay was so much fun. Granted, there was a lot of supernatural, which is in every Tomb Raider game. This one had a little bit more than I was used to with, Thor's hammer and all the thalls, and then you find out kind of the fate of your mother, which is definitely a letdown, but I will say I thoroughly enjoyed it. Number 4, Tomb Raider Legend, 2006. Tomb Raider finally had the reboot that it needed to survive as a series. At this point, I feel like everybody thought Tomb Raider was a complete and total joke because of Angel of Darkness doing so horrifically bad. She had a new look, the graphics were amazing, and this is the first time when we kind of have a personal story of Lara Croft. She's not just going because it's an artifact. She's not just going because she wants to make money. Shows you as a young child, you're in a plane crash with your mother, you guys find this giant sword, your mom pulls it out, and she disappears, and you never see her again. Now, this was something that every single Tomb Raider fan was waiting for. An awesome storyline. It just kept driving you to get to the next level because it was so gripping. She finally had a badass moment in a dress, which was super cool. You got to play as when she was in Tokyo. You got to take on the Yakuza. It was amazing. You learned more about Laura's past with her friend Amanda, and granted her boobs were still big and out of control, but it was like, fuck yeah, female power all the way. That game was amazing. Finally, Lara Croft had a personality. Yes. Number 3, Tomb Raider, 2013. Number 3, this is super hard for me, but I have to do this. I have to give them the credit where it's due. This game brought a whole new slew of people interested in Lara Croft. She finally had a smaller bust, which was what everyone was obsessing about. She wasn't all just boobs anymore. We started as a younger Lara Croft. We've never seen her like this before. She's always been kind of so much of a badass, even when she was younger. But in this one, we saw how she came to be the Tomb Raider and Lara Croft. She was afraid, she was alone, she's having emotions, she's showing that she's in pain. You basically get into a shipwreck where you and your crew are stuck on this island. They're all separated, so there are other characters that are involved in the game, but primarily it's just you by yourself trying to find out how to get off this island. There were still supernatural elements in the game, such as the Sun Queen and the gods, and believing that this island was cursed. It had some gnarly, disgusting, bloody scenes, which were some of my favorite from the game, where you're literally in a river of blood. It was so gritty and different than anything we'd ever seen, and I completely loved it. And especially because I'm a horror movie and a horror game fan, I thought this is fucking awesome. Like, you're not just running around with pistols, you have a bow and arrow this time. Like, you had different things to your disposal, and as you progress in the game, you get to learn all these new items and weapons. That game was a very complete and beautiful Tomb Raider game, and I cannot wait to play the next one, which I haven't played yet because it's not on the PlayStation 4 yet. So when it does, I will be playing that, and hopefully I'll be recording it. Number 2, Tomb Raider 2, 1997. This was my first game that I ever bought with my own money. I had saved up my cash, and I saved up enough to be able to go to Toys R Us and purchase my first game with my own money. That is Tomb Raider 2. Now, I think a lot of people would say Tomb Raider 2 doesn't really bring anything new to the table. Well, this is my list, and this is Nostalgia Factory. I didn't play any Tomb Raider game as much as I did Tomb Raider 2. We began in China. It was one of the scariest experiences going in the Great Wall. It was dungeons, it was traps everywhere, and you could just die at any moment. Thank God back in Tomb Raider 2 you could save your game data as much as possible whenever you pleased, so that was a big help. It had so many great locations that you got to explore. It wasn't just you're in a tomb. You were in a shipwreck at the bottom of the ocean where all you could hear was your heartbeat. You were in Tibet fighting yetis. You were at the Great Wall. You were fighting a dragon, and at the best part of this whole entire game was when you thought you were done, had the dagger in your possession, you're checking it out, and what happens? These guys start breaking into your house. the house that you played in before the game. You got to explore her whole entire house and fuck with the butler. So when they came busting into your manor, that was fucking game on. We knew this place better than they did. But the only thing was, we only had a shotgun with so many bullets, and these guys were super OP and would just fuck you up. That was one of the most exciting parts of the game, was going around your house and it's pitch dark. It was just such a great way to end the game. And that is why this very special game is number 2. And number 1, Tomb Raider, 1996. This game changed everything in terms of the history of gaming. This was the first game where you were a female heroine who was just kicking ass, killing a shitload of animals and the occasional bad guy. It was a third-person game where at the time a lot of first-person games were highly popular. It was the first game that it had a world that you felt that's pixely, mind you, very pixely, but it was an encompassing world. The music and the keys and the puzzles, it was something that nobody at that point had ever experienced before. And that's why I believe Tomb Raider's in a lot of history of gaming, because it was so important that so many games tried to replicate it. Now, obviously, this game is just like the reboot, which I had already kind of spoken about, with the Scion and Natla hires Lara Croft, who we don't really know at this point. It's just, hey, I'm Lara Croft, I'm here, pay me to go find this artifact for you. It's called the Scion. That is our main goal. We go to Egypt, we go to Peru, we do all this stuff just to find this artifact. We're dealing with her like henchmen. Pretty much Natla goes crazy at the end with power and like uses the artifact on herself, becomes this like winged devil lady, and it's just like the most epic game. I specifically remember, and why this is such an important thing to me, was I wasn't allowed to play rated teen games back in the day. I was only allowed to play Sonic and things that were not of the violent nature. I was the first child. Can you guess? So my dad had rented Tomb Raider 1 and was playing it in the other room, and I was peeking through like a crack in the door trying to see what he was playing because I could hear it, and it was like gunfire and all this stuff. And I was so intrigued by it. And I was like, oh my god, that's a girl? Like, she's got these big boobs. Like, nothing's more feminine than big boobs, you know? Like, she was badass. She had these guns and like this cool outfit. And I was sold from right then on. I totally got caught peeping on my dad playing it. So I was like, Mom, well, I've already seen it. And my dad was like, yeah, she's already seen it. It's fine. Let's just let her play it. And he would sit there and help me defeat the bear, which is still one of the scariest moments in my life, was that damn bear from the first level. He would just sit there and help me, like kill the wolves, kill the guys, and go through the puzzles with me, because at the time that game is so hard now that I couldn't even imagine being 6, 7 years old playing it, not knowing about it. I never actually owned the Tomb Raider 1 because I bought Tomb Raider 2 with my own money, and then I got Tomb Raider 3 for Christmas, but I never actually owned the first one again until I got older. So that was such a distinct, short moment in time, but it changed my entire life and made me a Tomb Raider fan for the rest of my life. It's been a long 20 years, but I've always been a fan, and I cannot wait for the next 20 years. Share your best Tomb Raider moments with me in the comments below. Tell me what your best 10 games are. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Don't you think you've seen enough?